Yeah, my name's Roy Nicchols.
And I'm Mary Nicchols.
We've been around a bit and we've got to the point now where we're in Jah-Jireh.
And like Roy, we're very happy to be here for many reasons.
When I was about 5, they took the truth on the basis of a little boy who knocked on their door and offered the harp of God. My brother and I took the truth because we were very young at the time. We just loved the organisation. Even though we used to get on our bikes and go down to the Kingdom Hall in the very early years of our association with the truth, separate from the parents, because we just liked the organisation. So that was the basis of really a good founding in the truth.
The brothers that called on my father with the gramophone records, one of the records that they had was that of a resurrection. And as my mother had died when I was born, and I didn't know her, that resurrection hope really impressed me. And it's one thing I wanted to do, was to be able to see my mother, see her raised again, see what my mother was really like. So apart from appreciating all the other doctrines there that were proved from the Bible, it was the resurrection hope of seeing my mother that I think got me to think, well, yes, this is the truth, and I want to get baptised. Let Jehovah do the rest.
I was baptised at the Watford Public Baths in 1949. It was like a circuit assembly at Wembley, that's Wembley and area. It was a time for me to start thinking of the truth seriously, and so I got baptised at that particular year. I always remember a young brother at the time, so when he got baptised, he then decided to go straight from the brothers doing the baptism. He would actually then swim the whole length of the baths and back again, because it was just a nice time to get baptised, a nice time to do swimming. Yeah, when you enjoyed it.
I was baptised, it was a large convention at Wembley, and this was in 1951, and we were put into a coach and we were taken to Ruislip, Lido. In those days, the Lido was not a concrete base, it was a very muddy base. I remember it was very, very muddy by the time I got into it, because the reason was I was one of the last to get baptised. So the whole episode was walking through mud and a very muddy water. That's how, as a young child, that's how I remember the baptism. There was going to be a convention at Luton, which is in Bedfordshire. And at that time, Roy was pioneering at St Albans, and I was just a publisher in Harpenden. And we went independent of each other. We both went to Luton to do rooming work. But lo and behold, we ended up on the same map, and very romantic, and down the same road.
Yeah, rooming work was encouraging people to give up their beds, spare beds in the house, because some of the brothers came from a long distance away and they were obviously needing accommodation. So the idea was to get as many rooms as possible in order to accommodate the many hundreds of brothers who would be coming.
Yes, and he hadn't got a pen to write "Not at Home's" down, and so he would come and borrow my pen, and that's how our relationship struck up.
We were married in 1957 at the Harrow Kingdom Hall in northwest London. Brothers and sisters from all different areas that we were associated with at the time that came there, and we didn't really have much of a wedding reception, because in those days everything was very, very utility. But the main thing was that The brothers were very kind to us at the time, and we were able to use the brothers' home as their wedding reception. Being poor pioneers at the time, yes, it was quite interesting. I arrived with an old car that belonged to the family, a Ford 8. Mary came actually in a Packard, a big old American car that was loaned by a wealthy sister at the time. Yeah, and it was very comfortable to ride in as well. So these are the sort of things that came our way quite unexpectedly by the generosity of the brothers.
And in those days, you didn't have a white dress to get married in. Any photographs you look at, I'm just in a very pretty dress that I had to borrow at the last minute because what I had arranged fell through. And so there I am in this it was a very pretty pink dress, so I felt very privileged to have something that I could wear, because even a couple of years earlier it was even plainer that sisters got married, and so I was greatly honoured to have this dress loaned to me to get married in, and somebody rushed along, gave me a bunch of flowers to hold, you know, and it was also so lovely, really. Yeah, we didn't have great expectations.
It took about 5 or 6 days to enjoy it, and then we were asked to go to Ireland. So that was quite an eventful time, when really you were only just married and an opportunity to start seeing the world, because we were fairly young, but enjoying the truth at the same time.
From our marriage day, we were assigned to Era, which is Ireland, it was then called. So within a week of being married, we went to hitchhike to Liverpool and caught the ferry and went over to Ireland, and that was our first assignment as special pioneers.
The ministry in Ireland proved to be quite a responsibility, because you're working Roman Catholic territory by the majority of people that you spoke with, and sometimes the society, they organised special campaigns, and one of them was sending out special leaflets to all the priests in the area, and we were engaged in a part of the ministry there, and sending out these leaflets to the clergy. The clergy used to send them back to us through the post without payment, and they didn't like the presence of Jehovah's Witnesses anywhere in their territory. So it was a very difficult ministry at that time period, but a very good witness was being given.
When it was a Bible campaign over in England, we had the Douay Bible over there, the Catholic Bible, and we'd go to the Catholic Truth Society shop, we would buy the Catholic Bible, the Douay, and then we'd go on the doors and place the Bible with the people. And the priests got to hear that we were doing it, and they had a blanket coverage preaching in the churches that if anyone had bought a Catholic Douay Bible off Jehovah's Witnesses, they were to destroy the Bibles in their home. But it sorted out the boys from the girls kind of thing, from the viewpoint that if they'd got any spirituality in them, they would keep the Bible. If they were fearful of the priests, they would destroy the Bible. So we still had some calls that we could go on, and they would entertain us. So that was a great preaching work. Following that, we went to Gilead. That was a great highlight, because it was a 10-month course of Gilead that we went through, not the normal 5-month course. And eventually we were put on circuit work, where again we went to various places throughout the British Isles. And for several years we did circuit work and district work, and then we went on to looking after the Bristol Assembly Hall for nearly 20 years.
One of the lovely things is that we were now being invitees of those who love the truth, and now they were offering us accommodation, because when we were actually at the Assembly Hall, we were now becoming the hosts and doing the opposite of what we were doing in the travelling work. So as a result of the experience that we had, we now made many, many friends. Even here in Jah-Jireh, as brothers and sisters who, we became friendly with them when we got to know them in the circuit work.
I think it was having the responsibility, obviously along with Roy, of getting the Assembly Hall established. All of a sudden, you had all these brothers and sisters working at the Assembly Hall, and then they completed it and left, and all of a sudden we were there on our own, carrying the responsibility of all the various departments. It was exciting, really, and all the brothers coming back, and they used to say, well, I worked on that part, I worked on the roof, I worked on the car park, I built this and I did that, and they were all so excited to see the work that they had done all come into fruition, and that was a real joy to us. We got hot air balloons landing in the field on the top. Yes, several of those in the course of time. We had deer in the grounds, and we had a pack of horses get into the ground, and of course we had to get them out by Friday afternoon because of all the brothers coming. There's all sort of unexpected things that would happen. Yes, yeah.
Of course, we like the brothers and sisters. It could be any care home, but of course with Jah-Jireh it's special in so many ways.
It's given up the struggle that we were having before we came here. It was a real struggle to keep everything going in a home, and that's what I appreciate. Even as 2 weeks here, I realised that all the things of normal living had been taken away from us. Things are being done for you, and it's been such a help. And of course it's lovely being with all the brothers and sisters. You can't beat that, can you?
This is Jah-Jireh. It certainly is a wonderful provision. Mary has been on dialysis for kidney failure for the last 12 years or more, and to be able to help Mary to be able to cope with illness like that, because with things like dialysis it throws up so many other problems that go along with it, and a lot of pain as a result. But Mary's done very, very well on that, and it's good to start thinking of the new order and the benefits of that, and surely this is all to do with the truth.
I would say the resurrection, because of all my family that had died, and needless to say, all the reproach taken from Jehovah's name. Like an elephant, to build me a log cabin. Yeah. What animals? Cat. Oh, cats. He loves cats. So we can only have pop cats at the moment.
Yeah. Whatever animal comes our way, you look after it. That's a part of the joy of living in paradise.